Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, along with my co-host,
Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Good evening, everybody.
And if you all missed us last week, it was because we didn't have a show and we were both recovering from the 2025 National Black Book Festival, which was really awesome this year. And we had a great turnout. We had great featured authors. We had a lot of seminars. A lot of book clubs came. We've been getting really, really good feedback since the event. And so it was really, really great. And for those of you all who didn't get a chance to attend, just follow our Facebook and Instagram pages because we'll be posting photos probably from now to the end of the year. Normally we get 300 to 400 photos that we have to go through and label and all of that. So we really had a great time. We made a few changes that really worked out well. And Rhonda always does a great job interviewing our featured authors and doing some on-the-spot 5-minute interviews with authors who attend, with the participating authors. So everything went well. And we even had a new game for the welcome reception. And we had an MC this year. That was our first time really having an official MC. So that went well. So everything went well. So our dates for next year are October 22nd through the 24th. We're going to give you a sneak peek. We already have some confirmed featured authors, and we're working on a graphic for that to post. And we also officially have over 100,000 followers on Facebook. Yay! It only took us 12 years to get there. So anyway, we have as our first guest one of the featured authors from this year's festival, but she's never been on the show. So we wanted to bring her on. And since I didn't really get a chance to hear all of her story about how all the years she's been in the publishing industry, but what I did hear was so compelling, and we wanted to have her on the show so it could be exposed to our online audience. And so, Kiki Swinson, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Hi.
Have you recovered from your trip?
Yes.
Your trips to different places, then to Houston and then back to Atlanta.
Yes. I'm relaxing now.
Okay. Now, do you write full time, Kiki?
I do. I ghostwrite and and edit. Yeah, but I do it full time. I don't do anything else.
Okay. Now, how long have you been doing it full time?
For like maybe 22 years.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say a small.
Wow. I haven't clocked in nowhere in like 22, 23 years.
Well, that's great. And now, when did you first start writing? I've known about you since I think you started, but just bring us up to date on when Kiki started and why she started and some of your journey to get to where you are now.
Okay. So you want some backstory?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we want some backstory.
All right. So I didn't start writing until I was in prison. But before I went to prison, just a little bit of backstory. I used to traffic drugs. I started trafficking drugs at the age of 17. And I got involved with this big time drug dealer, and then I stopped trafficking drugs and helped him build a drug empire, helped him become a multimillionaire. And then we started having people traffic the drugs for us. And this duo, this girl and this guy that was, trafficking drugs for us. This one particular trip was arrested here in Georgia. As a matter of fact, coming from Florida, I purchased, a couple of keys of cocaine, gave it to them. They were supposed to bring it back, but they were arrested. Federal investigation came, and we were locked up like maybe a year later on conspiracy. So, but while I was doing that, helping him build a drug empire, I was going to school for English. I was going to a community college for English. I started out as communications because I wanted to be an anchor woman. I wanted to do journalism.
Okay.
And so because of the federal investigation, I was arrested, stopped school. I was like maybe 17 or 20 credits short of an associate's degree. And then I did 5 years in prison, came home. But while I was in prison, I started reading magazine articles on Terry McMillan because she was hot back then. This was in the early 90s.
Okay.
So I started reading the book Mama, Disappearing Acts, and stuff like that. And I started doing research on her. And I'm like, okay, I started reading about her success, how she used to go to the mailbox and, get $30,000 and $40,000 checks. And I'm like, what? You get that much, legitimately?
Legally, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Just write books and stuff like that. And they were entertaining. And so, so I did my time. I started writing in prison. And then when I came home, I wrote a book, something similar to Disappearing Acts, or Wait Until Exhale. I'm going to say Wait Until Exhale because, Wait Until Exhale had, different women, going through obstacles in their relationship. So I wrote a book called Mass Shambles, which was my very first book when I came home. I came home in 1996. I went to the halfway house, got out of the halfway house in 1997. So a couple of years after that, I released Mass Shambles, sold like 1,000 copies. It was about 3 women going through drama in their relationships with men. Only sold 1,000 copies out the trunk of my car, going to, beauty salons and stuff like that. And at this particular time, Terry Woods was out.
Okay.
Soldier. So this was like in the late 1999, early 2000.
Okay.
So I remember driving to a Black-owned bookstore, and the guy there in New Jersey, he said, hey, Kiki, you did time in prison. Why don't you write a hood book, And so I said, he said, because, Sister Soldier's book was doing, really, really well. And Terry Wood's book, True to the Game, was doing really well. Coldest Winter. And, so those were the books that were out at that particular time. And so I sat down and he said, I'm going to introduce you to Carl Weber, because he knew Carl Weber back then. And Carl Weber had just got his deal with Kensington, his little imprint, Urban Books.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God, no shade to Carl Weber, but thank God that didn't go through, with him, because he had built up a roster. And so he was, he was filled to the capacity of the authors that he wanted to sign. So I got hooked up with Crystal Lacey Winslow at Melodrama Publishing out in Brooklyn.
Okay. Heard of them?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's the one who did the Wifey series, Melodrama Publishing out of Brooklyn.
Okay.
And so I did Wifey and gave it to her. And that first 90 days, that first 30 days, we did 100,000 copies. And remember, back then, it was easy to sell that many books because we had street vendors.
Right.
New York, we
right.
had
all over New York, on every corner.
Mm-hmm.
All the boroughs, they had the street vendors. They had them in Philadelphia. They had them in New Jersey. They had them in Baltimore. Wherever there was a train station, people had tables set up selling books. And then we also had, Black-owned bookstores who reported at Essence Magazine. And that helped too, because people would come to the tables looking for your book.
Okay.
So
Yeah, our store was a Kush City
I
was
know.
a reporting store.
The essence. Yeah, I remember because that's when I was there doing, when I was there at your event. That's when one of your friends said, "Hey, she's a part of Kush City." I was like, "Okay, wait a minute. That's been out for a minute."
That a minute, yeah,
Yeah,
late 80s. I mean, late 90s.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
since
yeah.
December 98 was when we went online, but we opened our store in 2000. So,
Yeah, the
yeah,
city opened doors for
So
a
from the
lot was,
beginning, that's from
yeah,
the beginning.
yes, a lot was happening during those years, those early years in the book industry, and all the people that you mentioned. I know. I mean, they all either came through the store, or, or I was
Triple
exposed
Crown,
to them in some
Triple
way.
Crown was hot back then, and
Yeah,
everything.
Crown
yeah,
was very hot back then.
Yeah, what? What? It's like if you weren't, it's like you didn't even know the author's name with Triple Crown. You just, if you saw a Triple Crown book,
Well,
you got
yes,
Triple Crown was bigger than the author's name on the book. Triple
that's
Crown
what
was
I'm
up here,
saying.
and the author's name
That's
was
what I
right
was just saying. You didn't have, they didn't care who the author was. They saw Triple Crown at the top, they was buying the book.
yeah,
But thankfully for me, Melodrama was a small publishing company out of New York. But luckily for me, Wifey, the name Wifey, put me on the map. So when they
okay,
saw Wifey, I'm Still Wifey, they saw the series, they
Mhm.
started correlating my name with the name Wifey because they didn't know my name either. They just saw the title and they wanted the book.
okay,
And then they started, you know, so when they saw Wifey, like, okay, her name is Kiki Swinson. I want the book by the girl who wrote Wifey because I used to hear that all the time. I would be doing a book signing and I heard someone come in and did the Wifey part 2 come out? So I heard that one time and I'm like, yeah, I'm here doing a signing for it, and so people learned my name later.
okay.
It was,
They learn your book titles first.
right. They came, yes,
Mhm.
Kiki Swinson came synonymous with Wifey later
Okay,
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really think the early 2000s were probably the golden age for Black books
It
because,
was.
yeah,
those were times where it wasn't about being social media famous. We had to actually go
Mhm.
out there
Right.
and actually go face to face with readers. We had to do what we call now guerrilla marketing.
Yes.
If you knew a name back then, you knew it because that author was on their grind, not because they were social media famous.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
They were really hustling.
Right.
And a lot of authors who are coming out with books now don't understand that they just think they're gonna write it. Well, because they get their book on Amazon, they think it means something. It doesn't. Amazon has millions, tens of millions of books. Nobody knows your book from Adam unless you do some kind of marketing.
Yeah.
And your first book is not going to put you on the map. It takes years of work. And you know, there's a saying, it took 10 years to become an overnight success, or sometimes 50 books or whatever it is to become an overnight success. It's not some in it. And if you only get in it to try to get rich quick, that's not a good reason to get in, because that's not likely to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to love the craft. Now you do need to make money, but something you said early on, you sold 1,000 copies of that first book. The average self-published book only sells 250 copies. So you were way ahead of the
I
game.
know. I was going to talk about that too because you said I only sold 1,000
Right,
copies. And there's
right,
some authors watching this
right.
show tonight saying they
Would
wish they could
love,
sell 1,000
yeah,
copies,
would love to sell
and
that.
they have the benefit of social media now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
1,000 copies back in those days, that was a lot
And
because
the
we were
fee.
doing face to face, hand to hand, like
Yeah.
you said, carrying books in our trunk. We had
Mm-hmm.
to have books in our trunk. If you told somebody you were
Good.
an author and
You had to have
you
a book.
said yes, and they said, "Okay, well, where's your book?" You had to go out there and get that book.
Yeah, you had to have a book on hand. And let me tell you, every weekend, my first book, Mad Shambles, every single weekend, I was at the beauty salon early because these stylists, they'll be up in there like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 6, their
Yeah,
clients.
sometimes 6.
Yes. And honey, I was up in there selling the book and I'm like, okay, I already got you last weekend. It was somebody else new that was up in there. I was pushing that book. You understand what I'm saying?
And that's a good audience because they're sitting there, especially if it's on the weekend, they're
Yeah.
sitting there for 4 or 5 hours or maybe longer, depending on the style. And they got to have something to do. Now people are in their phones.
That's the other big thing because see, natural hair wasn't as big a thing back in the early 2000s. So the beauty shops were a lot more crowded. Now, we got natural hair and we're doing our own hair now. You got social media teaching you how to do braids on your own.
Yeah.
So,
They really perfected wigs. I mean, they've really done some advanced stuff with wigs.
Oh yeah, with the little lace fronts, honey.
And make it look natural, look like a natural hair, and a part and everything. They have a part, side part, middle part.
Listen, you know what? It's so funny because my daughter, she said, "Mom, you've never worn a lace front." I said no, because I see everybody that don't have no edges.
Well, that's true. Glue is not good for your hair. I mean, some stuff should be common sense, but if you're putting glue on your hair, it's going to come out when you take off whatever.
Yeah.
It's going to take your hair.
Now, don't get it twisted. My hair is real long, but the older you get, the thinner it gets. So I will wear some extensions to make my hair, fuller.
But we enhance. Yeah, we continue to enhance. You don't give up on beauty.
Yeah.
This is why I get braids a lot, because I just don't have time anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, my hair is like this, but I don't know how long it's gonna stay like this. I'm probably going to get some braids this weekend.
Every time I see Rhonda, every 2 weeks she has a different hairstyle.
Where are you guys? In Houston, right?
I'm in Houston, but
I'm in Maryland.
I'm in Maryland.
Ain't it cold? Listen, girl, when I tell you my scalp is freezing out here in Georgia and Atlanta, I said, because I'm coming up there to the next weekend for the Mike Epps show at the National Harbor. I told my mom, I said, I'm taking these braids out. Ain't nowhere in the world I'm gonna be freezing. And my gray coming through. I said, I'm gonna dye my hair black, honey, and I'm gonna wear.
It's not freezing here yet, Kiki.
It's not freezing.
No.
Girl, these braids gotta come out, honey. This was for Mexico.
Well, Kiki, you need to let me know when you're in town, because you still didn't sign my book.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry.
I was supposed to come back to you, but I wound up going to my nephew's house because I had to bring him that TV back that was sitting in my area.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and so when I got back, it was late. I'm like, Kiki probably asleep, and she didn't probably ate, but let me text her just to make sure.
Let me say something. Gwen, I'm so happy you gave me them daggone sandwiches, honey. I got them sandwiches, honey, because them croissant sandwiches, honey, was so good, and it hit the spot. And I went downstairs, got me a drink, and listen, no shade. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I first got to the hotel, I was like, Lord have mercy, this Sheraton looks so old. But when I got into that room, honey, and saw how clean it was, I appreciate you. And that bed was so soft. It was real clean up in there. I was like, okay, I'm good.
Nice. It's an older property, but they redid the inside. So it's very nice.
That bed was so soft. I said, in the bathroom, I said, oh yeah, I'm good. Thank you so much for the accomplishments.
And you had a long day that day too.
Yeah, I did.
You had to get up on early.
And I got to tell you about your girl Kiki, though. Let me tell you about your girl Kiki, because Rhonda and I, Rhonda Garcia, we're sitting there like, do you know where Kiki is? No. And I saw her, Kiki. She was sitting in a chair, all nice and quiet. I didn't know what she looked like, so I didn't know that was her. So Rhonda and I are looking at each other like, do you know where Kiki is? She said, no. I said, well, let me go down and see if she's over here by Gwen. She wasn't over there. And then I was just about to go to the back to see if she was there. And then Kiki walked into me and said, you the one doing the interviews? Yeah, she goes, I'm Kiki. I said, you were sitting there all that time. I didn't know it was you. She was sweet and humble.
You were there most of the day. Well, you got there in the morning.
Yeah, I got there around noontime. Yeah. Yeah. I was.
You've been there for a minute then.
Yeah, I changed my look up all the time. That's why
you look different now than you did then, but it might be because you have your hair up this time.
Yeah, it's all up now and stuff down in the back. Yeah. I told Kensington, I said, don't send that picture out. That picture is like 12, 13 years old. Please send out my latest photo. Because
Well, they didn't, so we used it. So it's all good. As long as it was you, we don't want
yeah,
to use a
right.
photo that's not you. but they sent it. So in the time we have left, because we got 10 minutes, I want to talk
Oh yeah,
about.
we didn't even talk about our book yet.
No, we didn't. And her two books.
Yeah.
So when did you make the switch, or what made you change to like more of the mystery thriller genre in terms of your writing?
Okay. Well, because I've written, oh my God, over 55 books, and selling as many copies as I had, Kensington just felt like, my editors just felt like, okay, Kiki, I need you to get away from the urban. And I need you to, because you have evolved, and you want to get away from the chitlin circuit. And because my books had started, because when I first signed with Kensington, my books were in paperback. So they were like, okay, well, look, we're going to need you to switch it up a little bit. And so because your books are going to start off in hard copy. And so we want you to cross over mainstream. So we want you to, appeal to people that are going to buy a $22 to $25 book. So, and so I'm like, okay, that's easy, Um, so I started off, being more, contemporary and just, thinking about life's events, and I remember writing a book called Deadline, and it was about a journalist, who was from the hood. Well, her family was, and she knew about a murder. And she was afraid to crack the story because she would have had a hit on her head. So it evolved. So it started from there,
Okay.
And so then I wrote the book called Burning Season, which is about, firefighters, burning down houses and, getting in cahoots with the homeowners so they can get the insurance money. So it's like insurance fraud.
Okay.
So and then I did the Hunting Ava thing, but if you notice, with Amber Alert and Hunting Ava, I still have like urban flares in my book. So when I thought of Amber Alert, I thought of the title and I'm like, okay, when I thought about that title, I'm like, okay, Kiki, you gotta something. It just can't be just a typical book where a kid, gets kidnapped and they've driven away in a car, you know. So, but I still had to have the element of a child being kidnapped, but just not. And as we all know, when they say Amber Alert, someone is being driven away in a car, being kidnapped. So when I thought about the story for Amber Alert and Hunting Ava, it again, it had to have an urban flair to it. So Amber Alert is about a young lady who used to be a car theft. She, a car thief, and she used to steal extravagant cars and sell them, on the black market and make millions of dollars. But she retired, and the guy that she used to date, he was like the ringleader, but he went to prison, federal prison, came home. But when he came home, she was messing with his best friend, and he didn't like it. So,
Okay.
yeah. So I want to stop there, but
Okay.
her
You're gonna
kids,
give too much away if you keep going, Kiki.
right? You're right. So her kids ends up getting kidnapped. So that's why it's called Amber Alert, and she has to pay ransom, to get her kids back.
Okay.
And then going into Hunting Ava, you know, she moves away to Houston, Texas, and the stuff that she did in part one is going to hunt her. So what I can say about Hunting Ava is that she's going to cross some people in part one, and they're trying to retaliate in part two. Um, so uh that's what Hunting Ava is about. So
But I
Amber
will
Alert. Huh?
about, well, what I'll say about Hunting Ava and Amber Alert is even though some time has passed between the stories, it almost picks right up.
It does. It does.
I mean, a lot of the characters are the same. You've gotten to know these characters, so it's a lot easier to get into the story because you know these characters, you know what they're up to.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say about Amber Alert, she went through a lot, to try to get her kids back, and so, it, some people die, so that's why there's a retaliation in part two, with Hunting Ava. Okay, Hunting Ava, because her name is Ava.
Okay. So do you feel like the urban street hood book genre is oversaturated?
I do. I do. I do.
Okay. And the reason I ask that is because that's not a genre that I read. There's certain people that I'll read Quan's books, some of
Mhm.
his. I read Tracy Brown. And but that's not like the genre that I read frequently.
It,
But
it
because
has.
I'm in the book business,
Mhm.
I'm paying attention to everything that's happening in books.
I
Yeah.
think my concern with this genre of books is that some of the newer authors think that what makes the book good is to make it as explosive and as gangster as possible. I'm like, y'all didn't even live, half of y'all didn't even live that life. You're
No.
going by your imagination or because you saw New Jack City back in the 90s and
Right.
you think that's the way it's supposed to be. I'm even looking at some of the plot lines and they're basically regurgitations of New
Whole
Jack
book.
City or The Godfather or something like that.
Or they're
It's
not even realistic. Or they're not even
right.
realistic. Yeah.
Yeah. Or well, and also the covers look like
All of them look the
almost the
same.
same. They all
They
look the same.
are. And it's so much. They're all busy.
Yes.
And
Oh
I'm
It's
my
like,
like,
goodness,
okay,
right?
on
They
the
are
cover,
very
we're
busy. I
gonna
didn't
put
even
a
think
fancy
about that
car,
one.
a gun, some drugs,
yeah.
a woman, a dude with a lot of tats, but all of them are on the cover at the same time.
Well,
Yeah.
as
And
an OG in the urban fiction game, what advice would you say to an up or give to an up and coming urban fiction writer?
Get out of urban fiction and get out of urban fiction because it's saturated.
yeah,
And we're tired of reading. I don't even read other people's books, to be honest with you. I don't. And I don't even like to see the hood movies. I have 3 movies right now that are on Tubi. A Sticky Situation, which is an adaptation of my book called A Sticky Situation.
okay.
Candy Shop, which is an adaptation of my book, The Candy Shop, which will both plagued with drugs, and then Playing Dirty, you know. And let me tell you something. When I tell you I am so sick of seeing drug dealer movies on television, it's like I want to see something quality, and
Yeah.
and I will say this, my advice to them is to think of another niche,
Mm-hmm.
write about something because a lot of us, and I'm just saying us as a whole, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people out here with mental health issues, you know, and I think that we should touch on, relationships where men don't know how to communicate, you know, and how a lot of relationships are, you know, they head for the heels, or in divorce court. I think we should just talk about something else other than drugs and the hood ratchet stuff. I'm over it. I am over it. May be my age, but I'm really and truly over it.
Yeah, well, I agree with you because I don't watch that much black programming because of that. I'm like, there's more that we can do than
Yeah.
sell drugs. Why? It's
Well,
now
I really watch a
the
lot
good
of black
one I saw
programming. I
though.
don't watch that.
I looked
Yeah.
at Snowfall and I was surprised that I liked it, but it was about it had so many layers. It
Right.
had a lot of subplots. It wasn't just the drug dealing. It had the CIA. It had the Mexico. It had the whole chain of the distribution and all of that. Everybody who was involved. They had the guy from Israel in there. So they really did a good job on that.
Mm.
And I like Power up to a point.
Yeah, I
I
watched it
have
because
not seen Power yet.
I watched it because of Omar Hardwick. That's why I watched it, because he was fine.
Oh, he's a good
Okay.
He's what got me watching it, to be honest with you. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what my motivation was, but I will say that would not deter me from
Right.
watching
Yeah.
it. From
Mm.
watching. It doesn't have to have some eye candy. You know, this is
Yeah.
it's good. So what's next for Kiki? What's on the horizon for you? What do you have?
What's next for me is I'm getting ready to do a memoir of
Oh.
yeah, yeah, it's gonna be, it's called Why How I Became Wifey. And it's about my earlier life, how I grew up, and how I got involved in drugs and the guys, that I was involved with. Then I came home and got into a tumultuous relationship with my 23-year-old son's father, how he beat me for like 3-4 years. So I'm gonna talk about that in the book. And then how I was able to get out of that situation. It just seemed like after I got out of that situation, God blessed me with wifey and building a multi-million-dollar brand. It just seemed like as soon as I got him out of my system, that negativity, I blew
Mm-hmm.
it on up, you know and just just everything. I'm just going to talk about the ups and downs about the industry. I went through another traumatic relationship, so I'm just going to talk about my personal life with people, because I don't talk about my personal life. I've never done that before, so that's what I'm going to do.
Now when can we see read How I Became Wifey? When is it going to
It
be out?
comes out next year.
2027?
I'm working on it right now. Kensington, I just got the green light that they're going to publish it. So
Okay.
yeah,
Good
so
for you.
I'm excited about that.
Can't
Yeah.
wait to read it. Can't
Yeah.
wait to read. We'll have to have you back when it comes out.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being a
No
guest on the
problem,
show.
guys.
The
Thank you.
memoir.
Yeah. And it was great meeting you in person.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. And if you need me, I'm here.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Take care.
Okay.
We're seeing you again.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, that was Kiki. So she's doing a memoir. That's going to be great. I can't wait to read that.
Actually,
Mm-hmm. So our next guest, and from time to time we have bookstore owners on the show. So this young lady actually came to the National Black Book Festival and introduced herself to me. But before that, I had already heard about a bookstore, and I had been planning to reach out to her, and it just didn't happen until now. And it basically happened because I met her at the National Black Book Festival. so, I want to introduce to the audience Sherrele Goloversic. Did I say it right?
You said it fine. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
wait, you said it fine. Did she say it right? Because I always like
Well,
to get
it's a little tough. It's
it is.
Goloversic, but
Oh, it's go. Okay, the accent is on the go.
right. Goloversic. Is that what you said?
So it's Goloversic. Not
yes,
okay. Well, Sherrele, welcome to
yes.
Black Authors Matter TV. And you're going to talk to us about your bookstore, the Book Readers Venue. And I assume that's where you are, unless that's a backdrop or from your green screen. Are
I
you
am
at
at the
work
bookstore.
now? Okay, all right.
I am
And
at the bookstore. Yes.
okay. And your bookstore is in Humble, Texas, which is a suburb of Houston, north of, I
Know
guess,
that because I was
northeast.
all up and through Humble, Texas. Not this year, but last year. If I had known that, I sure would have visited the store.
Oh well, we're still here. You can come see
That's
us
all right.
this
I'm
year.
coming back. I'm gonna come back.
And my good friend Pamela Jarman Wade told me about the store. So I had already heard of it. And when you came to the festival, that was when we got a chance to meet face to face. So welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite. I was a little bit surprised when you called me. I was like, who is this? I was like, that was quick because we had just met like the week prior.
Yeah, well, sometimes the timing works for the show. We have 4 guests every week, and so the timing worked. And because our show has people from all over the country, a lot of them are on the East Coast and they're an hour ahead of us.
Right.
So if I have someone who is on Central Time or even Pacific Time, it works out with the later slots. And so I have been wanting to get you on the show anyway. So I don't let any moss grow under my feet. Rhonda can tell you that if it's I take action quickly. So that's why we invited you. And tell us about your store, what motivated you to open it, and how long have you been open and all of that.
Wow. Okay. So we've already established it's in Humble, Texas. Humble is where I grew up. Um,
Oh, okay.
there were really no bookstores. When I grew up, we only had the one library. We have two now, but um, I just felt the need for representation because we do have a large Black community that's growing. But there was just not a lot that represented us, and we always had to go quote unquote into the city to
Mm.
even participate in anything cultural or just to see our faces. Um, and it was, I was probably in my late 30s before I even found Black romance. And I'm like, wow, this is good. But it was because it was never presented to me. And so as I started to go to different book events and listening to authors talk about, the challenges they had or the obstacles as they were trying to be published or trying to get their books in stores, I just wanted a space where that wasn't the challenge, that, indie, traditional, this space is here and it allows the readers of any demographic to be able to walk in and say, you know what, I want to try something new. And we're here to talk about it. So that's why it's here. I've been open 3 years. We're growing. I started in a spot that was 180 square feet. I was there for 2 years. And then last year we moved into a much larger space, 750 square feet. And it seems like we're starting to outgrow this one too, which is a good problem to have. Um, so that's what we do. So just really trying to make it safe and very home-like for readers and authors to just sort of gather and be together and talk books.
So what would you say draws people to your store? Like, do you have a
Ah,
particular do you have particular events, or do you I see a lot of stores that have book clubs that either originate from the bookstore or they meet at the bookstore. And so what would you
oh,
say is the biggest draw for traffic, to get traffic into your
the
store?
biggest the biggest draw for traffic here is the indie authors, and we have a huge bookshelf of signed copies. I think that's the biggest draw.
Hmm.
And so, which is different, right? So we
Mhm.
look different than the Barnes and Nobles down the street or the other bookstore down the street. And so they have that opportunity to, get introduced to a new author. So I would say our signed copies and our indie selection is our biggest draw. We do have a book club that meets once per month, and we have other book clubs that use the space. I think a lot of times what people say when they come in, it just feels cozy and it feels like home, which is important to me because I don't want it to feel like the space that's cold and transactional. I just
Okay.
want people to just come in and get comfortable. And so we do. We have people that come in and they may sit down on the floor and grab a book, So that's probably the biggest draw, just being comfortable and just being able to relax and be amongst other readers. Because I think sometimes too, people end up meeting some of their favorite influencers that happen to be here. And they're like, oh, I follow you. And so they made connections that way.
Yeah, I love being able to go to a bookstore. It just feels like a place where you should be able to just curl up on the sofa and read your book. Now, buy the book. Don't just go in there every day and read the book for free. We want
Right.
to buy the book.
Buy
But
something.
it's just
Right.
it's a really great meeting spot.
It is. And then, we have author signings and um, at least two a month. I, I do a lot of things with locals. I think it's important. There's a huge literary scene here in Houston and the surrounding areas. And I think we have a platform and it's important to give everybody an opportunity. Where some didn't even feel like it was an opportunity. They would just, okay, I'll just write this book and I'll put it on this platform and that's it. Not realizing, the opportunity to have a book signing, to chat with a group of readers about their book, or even to see it on the bookshelf. So those are things that have been really, really important. And that's just really done well here.
So
Well, so I wanted to just tell her someone named Sherrele said, hello, Sherrele from Texas, from Sherrele in the Bahamas. So there's somebody
Oh,
watching from the
well,
Bahamas.
Sherrele's are good people. So hello, Sherrele in Bahamas. I need to come visit. And send for me. Send for me. I'll bring books.
I love it. Well, I was just going to ask, you mentioned that you have authors do signings. Are you very intentional on the amount of signings you do each month, or can an author just contact you and say, I'd like to do a signing on such and such day?
Well, first of all, we're only open 3 days a week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I am still in corporate America. And so for me, it was important because I am still in corporate America that the bookstore is open consistently. And I knew I could be consistently open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and not try to push the envelope and sometimes open Wednesdays, sometimes open Thursday. I wanted the community to know that every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if they show up at these doors, we were open. So if I have a slot that's available and the doors are open and then the book is a good fit, we're signing. I don't have a limitation. I probably should because sometimes I get exhausted, but I also get a thrill of, having the authors and the readers here being able to gather together. So I don't really put a limit on it.
Okay.
So the 3 days a week that you're open on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So those are actually the higher traffic days anyway, in terms of retail overall, but bookstores in particular. So do you also have other products in your store other than books, or do you focus exclusively
We
on books?
do. We have t-shirts, we have candles, we have stickers. So we have a lot of bookish things. They're all from local artisans. So, the candles is made by a lady who just happened to come in the bookstore one day and she says, oh, I make candles. And so she was trying to get her candle business up and going. And so that's important to me as well, because I do have a platform. So while we have this space, someone gave me an opportunity. So I'll give other people, an opportunity as well. So the stickers is made by a local Black business. The candles is a local woman's Black business. Every now and again, we have wine because there's a woman-owned Black winery down the street. So yeah, we have quite a bit of things here.
Okay. I didn't know about the winery. I don't drink wine
Yeah.
that much, but I didn't know that there was one in the area.
Well, I'm glad to know that because I know that there was a winery in Katy at one time, a Black-owned winery in Katy,
Mm-hmm.
but that one
Yeah,
closed.
Irma Rose.
Yeah, and that hurt my feelings because I was looking forward to going back. I mean, my nephew and my niece are there. I love them too, but I was looking forward to going back to that winery. And I found out that they were
Yeah.
closed.
So
Yeah, and there was a Black bookstore
she's
in
like down
Katy
the street.
too.
Yeah, and that one closed as well.
That was the close. So I've uh been in the Houston area in the book industry for 26 years. So the numbers of Black bookstores, it goes up and down because when we had our store, I think there were maybe 5 different stores. The Shrine of the Black Madonna was the big one down at on MLK. We were out close to where the book event was, that you went to with the National Black Book Festival. Our bookstore was in that area, maybe 2
Okay.
miles from there. So, and we had it for 10 years, but there were other stores that were open during the time when we had our store. And then, they closed and then new ones open. And so right now, I believe there's supposed to be 6 Black bookstores in Houston. I saw a flyer and your bookstore is on it. So right now there's 6. But for a while there were like 1 or 2. And then so it goes up and down. It's like you know, people give it a try and then you have to make money at some point. You can't, you have to make a profit. That's any business. So, and you need support all the time. And that's what I tell readers, or people who frequent a retail outlet, that you need to support them regularly, not just when they open. Like a lot of times, the grand opening will have good traffic, and then after that, it's not consistent. So what are some of your challenges as a bookstore owner, would you say?
I still struggle with foot traffic just because my building is sort of you can't see it from the main street. So we're still relying on word of mouth, social media. So we don't get a lot of just everyday foot traffic. It's just flowing. So there are days it's slow. I can tell you my grand opening was not, I mean, my family, of course, but outside of my family, the grand opening was pretty quiet. And so there have been times that I'm like, okay, God, am I supposed to be doing this? And each time, like, he's like, yeah, this is what I told you to do. So whether it's one person or nobody, I still open. But it's just really getting people, to your point. I mean, I have some regulars and I have people that drive from Webster that come, all the way to Humble. I have people from Katy, Cypress. So I do have a few that are very consistent. They've learned that I pretty much put new books out on Friday, so they sort of just show up. And so, but we need more, right? Because I can't always rely on the faithful 15 or whatever to keep the doors open. We need to be able to give the pocketbooks of the 15 a little bit of a break. And so that's just, that's what we need to do. And so it's still getting people to come out. It's getting people to know that we're here. I think because, just from a Black bookstore perspective or whatever, no one thinks to look in Humble. Right.
And that is true. That is true. Because I was surprised. So I was surprised there was a Black bookstore in Humble.
Yeah, just like I was saying earlier, I had no idea that there was a bookstore there. But now that I know, I'm going to be there. And I also just posted your link in the chat on the book readers venue .com. So hopefully that will draw some more traffic to your beautiful bookstore, because I can just tell from your backdrop it's beautiful. It just feels homey in there.
It is. And I appreciate that, because we have events coming up. We just had Mark Avery, he wrote Discipline. He's with Black Odyssey. He was here a couple of weeks ago. We have Masterpiece, who will be here next week. So, we've had a variety of authors and genres, that's been represented. It's just that it's not always well attended. And so, when that happens, because, for me, I just feel like everybody should come see every author and want to, convene with them and chit chat. So when, there's not a lot of people that come out, I do feel like, they drove way over here because everybody says Humble is so far. And I'm like, they come out and then you don't necessarily get the participation that you would like. But it always tends to work out as it should be. But I just always want more. And so I just have to kind of let it do its thing.
Yeah, that's the nature of it. Yeah, because we went through. Now, when we started our store, there was no social media. So, in fact, when we first started, email wasn't even that prolific. So we did snail mail postcards to let people know.
That's what I was going to say. It's probably just a matter of more people needing to know where you
Right,
are.
about
So
your store.
maybe the postcards or doing events where people can see your bookstore and they know it's there. Because, you know, one thing about us, we love to support our Black bookstores. We just don't always know where they are. So,
Agreed. When, once they realize that I'm here, I definitely, like I say, we definitely have repeat customers. The events are getting a little bit better in terms of the attendance. We're definitely drawing a bigger crowd, or if it's not a bigger crowd, it's a different mix of the 15, right? So it's not
Okay.
every event, it's the same 15 people or the same 20 people. It's like, okay, well, that's 10 new faces that I didn't see, which to me, that's always important as you're starting to see new faces. Then it's like, okay, it's starting to catch on. When it's the
yeah.
same ones, it's like, okay, you start to, or no, I start to like wonder, okay, what do I need to do different? Because it can get a little bit disheartening because I want this not just for me, but for the authors and for the reading community, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I think once they realize it's here, yeah, it'll do well. We're hanging in there.
Yeah. I think during the holidays, I'm going to make a sojourn to, I don't know if I can go to all 6 stores, but I'm going to put yours on the list and a couple of others that I know. Because I haven't been to a bookstore in a long time, period, just because I'm in the industry and I get my books from Ingram mostly, so the distributor. But and then I have this show, so I so I don't get out to stores like I should, and so I'm going to do that during the holidays. I'm going to make because this Humble is not close to me. Well, it's north, but it's northeast. I'm northwest. So, but and
Still
Houston
probably,
is
well,
big.
where in Northwest are you? Are
I'm
you?
not far from where the festival is. I'm 10 minutes from
Oh, okay.
Fallbrook Church.
Okay. Well, I'm still the closest bookstore to you
You
then.
are, you are.
You
That's why
are.
I
That's
said
how. But that's
put you
how I
on
ended
the
up in Humble because I always get to the National Black Book Festival on early Thursday. I get there on Thursday morning because I want to just relax before I just rush off to the events. And I was just driving around Humble. I got my nails done, went and got something to eat. Had I known about the bookstore, I would have gone over there. But I was just going to say, maybe you should do like the churches do and have friends and families. They tell those 15 people to bring friends and family.
You know what? We've tried that.
Uh-oh, don't tell
Um, it's one of those things. Well, we tried it early on, so it's another one of those things that it's probably time to try it again. Um, eh, because I tell people all the time, tell your family, tell your friends, you can tell your enemies. We'll make readers out of them too. So we just bring them in. We'll get them. You get them here. We'll take it from there.
There you go.
Yeah, well, at least because you are still employed, you're not depending on the store for your livelihood. So,
Right.
it still needs to pay for itself. But when we had our store, my husband and I were both full time with the store and online. We were selling out of the front and the back, because we were shipping from the back and then we were selling from the front. So we had a very active online business and phone orders. We mailed catalogs. We did a lot of stuff. But when you have 2 adult people, that's still a lot that you have to generate to make it,
Oh,
work for
absolutely.
your livelihood.
And my goal is to, work as long as I possibly can in my 9 to 5.
And you need
Because
those
this
benefits.
bookstore is my retirement plan. When I
Okay.
retire, I'm gonna hang out here. But I
Okay.
didn't want to start it when I retired. I wanted
Right.
to start it before I retired so that I could learn the business because I didn't know the business and I still don't know the business. But I wanted to have an opportunity to learn the business, get used to, how things work. And, as you burn through cash, I didn't want to burn through my retirement cash.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, let me start now. And then hopefully by the time I'm ready to retire from corporate America, I have a good nest egg and a cadence. Plus my family is like super supportive. If
And
you
that's the
read
key.
anything online, my mom, if I'm working or I'm not feeling well or I'm out doing a book event in another city or whatever, my mom is here. So a lot of the readers love my mom as much as they love me. And they look for her. So
Well, it's great to have that family support. And yeah, we had
absolutely.
everybody working with his kids, my husband's kids that we raised.
Oh,
They were all doing, small projects. We paid them, but this is a family affair, and it still is a family affair. Um, we don't have the store, but the marketing we do and the event is
right.
still a family affair. It's still, and
Oh,
but we have
absolutely.
a really
The best
great,
friends, the
yes,
nephews,
yes,
yeah,
we have a
everybody.
great team of people, especially for the book festival that have been with us for years. Just an amazing team of people.
Right. Yeah.
And
One of the things for me was I come from a very large family and I won't get into the background of a family, but I do have, siblings that have disabilities, but so I wanted them to be able to work out and be in the public and just feel connected to something. And so one of my brothers who's hearing impaired, like he is fantastic. That's my handyman. Uh, that's like, okay, we have to set up for an event. He has the tent, he's getting it set
okay,
up. And so again, he's just one of those that's always at the bookstore. So when everybody comes in, they know him. As much as they know me or my mom, they know my brother. And I like it because again, he doesn't have to feel uncomfortable. It's a
Right,
space that he can
right.
feel very comfortable being himself. Okay, he can't hear, but it's okay. He's very comfortable here. And then even my other siblings when they come. So that was important to me as well, is to have a space or that they could come to and feel comfortable and give them an opportunity to work outside of the home from time to time, not often, but from time to time, without feeling awkward or, you know,
I think that
so
that's great. When you have family that supports, I say support my shenanigans, but it's not even shenanigans. I mean, it's supporting a dream and it's supporting a goal and everybody's putting into it. It doesn't feel as much like work because you don't feel like you're doing it all by yourself or like you're the only one who believes in what you're working toward.
absolutely. And that was the nice part. I know sometimes I feel guilty because I'm thinking, you know what? I dreamed up this thing and now I have to have so and so do this and so do that. And I just had to learn that being an entrepreneur did not mean do it alone. And
Yes.
so I have to
no,
like get out of my feelings. I'm like, okay, they offered to help. Let me ask for help. It's okay. So I'm fortunate that my village is huge.
Amen to that. That's a
mhm,
blessing.
yeah, you need the support of family and friends. It's important, and the longer you stay around, there's a saying that when you get to a certain point, you don't really get new friends because friends are people you can trust and count on, and that's not everybody.
True. I've had the same two friends. One of my, oh man, we were 15. So I think that's 30, yeah, I don't know, 38 years, 37 years, somewhere thereabouts. We've been best friends for 30 plus years. And even my other best friend, 30 plus years. Yeah. Those two I know if I'm falling apart, they got me, no matter
Mhm.
what. So,
Awesome.
That's
and
important.
I don't know if I have the strength to just add any more friends.
Yeah.
So, well, and I was just going to say we only have a couple minutes left. However, if you'd like to highlight what upcoming, I know you mentioned it earlier in the show, but what upcoming activities and events do you have going on at the store, and then how can people find the store?
Okay. So we are on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok as the Book Readers Venue. I didn't have the wherewithal to try to come up with something catchy and different from all three platforms. I wasn't going to remember it. So we're the Book Readers Venue on all platforms. Our website is the book readers venue. So pretty consistent across the board. Anything that we sell inside our store, you can also buy online because we do ship. We are also on bookshop.org and libro.fm for our audio bookies. As far as what's coming up, we have, and all of those things are found on our website. Even our upcoming events is on the first page of our website. We have a children's book signing the day before Thanksgiving. It's pretty ambitious, but we're going to try it. We have an author celebrating her birthday November 14th. That's with Masterpiece. We have book club November 21st. We're reading a book by Brianna Michelle, which is Paint Our Love. And then in December, the only event I have right now for December is book club, which is, what book are we reading? We're reading Winter by a local author named Norian Love. I think that's it for this year. But that's today.
We had Norian Love on the show. I think we had Norian Love on the show. We did. We had Norian Love on the show. Yeah. It's been a while back.
Yeah, so he'll be here with us in December. And like I say, right now that's all I have planned, but that could easily.
But that's a lot. There are only 2 months, only one and a half months left in a year, so that's still a lot. You're doing your thing.
Yeah.
2025 is rapidly coming to a close. It is, I mean, it's gone by so fast. And the holidays are always quick. So after Halloween, then it's a blur. And then it's New Year's Eve, and then it's so fast. So, but congratulations on keeping your store open and thriving for 3 years, and continued success in the future. And if we can send any people looking for places to have a book event or something, if we can send them your way, we certainly will.
Absolutely, and I appreciate the opportunity today. I usually don't get in front of the cameras. So I appreciate
we appreciate
you
getting in front of the camera for us.
Yeah, thank you for making us an exception for us. So, and good meeting you at the book festival.
Likewise.
So hope to see you again next year.
Absolutely. You ladies have a good night.
Okay, you too.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, so our next guest is someone who has been on the show, but I looked and it's been over 2 years since the last time she was on. And so Dr. Tammy Smithers created I don't know if it started as a Facebook group or just a group of people, and she went on Facebook with it, but it was based on the personal librarian book.
Yes, I remember
Victoria Christopher Murray wrote that really made a mark in the historical fiction genre. And so Tammy really made it a thing where she really created something unique around historical fiction books written by Black women. So we want to welcome back Tammy to the show, so she can give us an update on what she's been doing since we saw her last, which is I think it was May of 2023 when you were on the show last. So welcome back to Black Authors Matter TV. Oh, we need to unmute so we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Much better.
Okay. Oops, I was like really talking, and I was like, oh my goodness. I was having one of those technical, like, oh my, I didn't want to have a technical moment. And you would think after doing this for, 4 years, going on 5, that I would be over these technical difficulties. But what have we been doing? What have we been up to since 2 years ago when we started this journey? And I say we because I represent the collective of almost 900 people. And technically, I think you could say it's more than that because of the individuals that we may tap into that are not on Facebook and that are probably on other mediums or just have, access to the list of books that are out there from other readers. So I'm grateful to be a part of the movement. And I think you give me so much credit by saying I created the platform. I did create the platform, but just I think historical fiction has been around for so long. But I just don't know that everybody embraced it as much as they have until these last 4 to 5 years.
I agree with you on
So,
that. It
yeah,
really has seen a renaissance, for lack of a better word, um, which I don't know if it's ever been this prolific in terms of releases. And not since I've been reading books, and that's been a long
right,
decades of reading. Um, so I think the publishing industry recognized that there was a viable, because everything they do is based on money. And so
correct.
they realized this is a viable genre. These are readers that are interested in these topics, and they will buy quality work when it comes out. And
Mhm.
so it's in a building mode right now, and hopefully it will sustain itself.
Yeah, I think just in speaking to some of the authors, and I guess I could be kind of an influencer. I embrace the term, um, but that, what they're doing, many of them, some of them have I won't say abandoned, but they've sort of shifted the writing that they're doing from the contemporary space to the historical fiction, while
Mhm.
others have sort of, I won't say sideline, but they sort of dip their toe into the water, if you will, around historical fiction. But I think one of the conversations that I've had with authors in this space has been, it can be really heavy. And so for readers, obviously, it could be really heavy, but thinking about the writer, the author, um, creating the work, it could be really heavy. So I think there's a balance there in terms of the quality of work that they're putting out there that is going to appropriately depict those experiences of Black women.
That's
But I
actually the
think one of,
question I was going to ask you.
okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry to cut you off, but well, I was just going to ask you. I think that because historical fiction has gotten so popular
Hmm.
and many people are wanting to try it, I don't know that there's an appreciation for the work that goes into writing historical fiction. And there's a lot of work with just the research part before you even get to writing.
Hmm.
And then you have to make sure that even if it's a totally fictional story, it still has to be true to life. So, do you find that maybe everybody's not understanding that dynamic?
I think Dr. Rhonda, you and I and others like us get it because we studied and we have, done that type of work. I think there's an appreciation for the amount of research, at least from the audiences that I am around, that feels that they appreciate the author's notes. For instance, the author's notes, tell them what went into this writing and the work, and so I think that detail, that level of detail, helps the reader to understand and appreciate.
Yeah.
I think where it could get a little lost is that fiction from fact, right? And when the authors in their own right are uncovering truths, if you will, they're having to depict those truths in such a way that is sometimes palatable to the reader. I was somewhere the other day, and in fact, it was yesterday, and someone mentioned that they read Harlem Rhapsody, and they put the book down because W. Du Bois, his sort of character, if you will, was a little different from what we historically had known.
Right.
And so, but that is sort of the author's right to be able to take that privilege to I won't say dance around the truth, but tell the truth in such a way that's authentic to not only the story, but it is, a new truth that sometimes we are becoming aware of because of the research that's being done. So,
Yeah, a lot of times people in history that we've heard about that are basically just names, heroes and sheroes. And so all we know is that they did something great, but we don't necessarily look at them as human beings with flaws.
Right.
And, for example, Martin Luther King, he's almost presented as a saint, but he did some things that weren't saintly. That doesn't take away from his contribution, but it's part of us, the way we view people, that they're almost like they can't be human. And no, when people are stepping outside of the circle or the square, the box that people have put them in, it's always going to create some challenges and they're going to stumble. Just the nature of stepping outside of the box, creates stumbles and stumbling blocks. So,
right.
But I think is really wonderful that we're learning about some people who really were obscure, that now we're learning about some people who really maybe never heard their names ever and never knew what they did ever. And then we're finding out they were really breaking ground in some major industries, areas, fields, all kinds of things.
Right. And I think the curiosity of the reader, I think the last time I was on, we probably talked a little bit about some of the field trips that we take. And I really believe that that has sort of brought people to a place and space where they're curious. So to your point, Rhonda, earlier about the research, people are curious. For some, it may, they may not be interested in history. I hate to say they're not interested in history, but, it may not be as.
That's real. They may not be interested in history. My mom's a history head. We like going to places like Gettysburg or places we can walk the history.
Right.
We have some family members like, I don't want to do that. That's boring.
Right. It's all personal taste. But I will say, personal librarians, and I follow, because I'm in other groups, online, historical fiction related or just mainstream, but typically historical fiction. And that particular book pops up in all circles, right? White, black, historical fiction, non-historical fiction, contemporary, people, gravitate towards that book. But what I noticed was the interest in going to New York City and going to the Morgan Library. And even for our trip, we took a trip last November, to the Belle de Costa Green exhibition within the Morgan Library. And that was very intentional, because we wanted to see, because I had already been there before, but we wanted to, kind of see more about her contribution and, look at how the scholars and the curators pulled together this history around this woman who, for at least for me, created this buzz around historical and happened to be fiction. So that's one. I think two, the curiosity around, okay, we know our history. We know that there was enslavement. Those are some times in history that even today that it's being erased around what happened, during that time period. And so we went to uh, plantations to, view our history. We've gone to Martha's Vineyard to also look at the history there of Blacks on the island. And so
go back there, please.
when we, well, I know people kept tapping me this year, like, are we going back? I am familiar with the island because I've just been on the island, but that was the first time. This last time I went, well, actually I went last year, but the year before when I took the group, was 2023. And it was the first time I had done it from that lens, right? The historical fiction lens. So, yes, if you have questions about the island, I'm not the expert, but I can, give you some guidance there. But the other part of that is just the fascinating history. And then guess what? We have books that are coming out that center some of places on the island. For instance, Harlem, with Love from Harlem. This is Rashonda Tate's book. I just got it over the weekend, the advanced copy. And we know that that's about Hazel Scott. And we learned about Hazel Scott during our visit. We actually passed by her home during our visit 2 years ago. We also know that there is, I think, one of the authors is writing about a pirate, and it has some setting on Martha's Vineyard. So it's always kind of cool when we take trips and we go to these places and spaces and they're being written about in the author's novel. So I think that's pretty cool. That's a pretty great element that I've tried to sort of mesh and marry with the reading and then the experiential learning that goes with that.
Now, did you, seems like I read something, you know how you see something scroll up and you don't focus on it, but you kind of see it. Something is coming out soon related to the lady who was the personal librarian, the DaCosta, is it a Netflix or is something related to her that is coming up out? It's either a documentary or another book.
I don't
Did
know,
you hear
and I
about?
and I need
I
to find
saw
out.
something. I saw something, and I didn't focus on it, but it was definitely her,
Okay.
and it was something in the news recently about her.
Okay. Well, I have not seen it. I will have to check into that, and if when I do, I will definitely share. And of course, we can always maybe find out from Victoria what that is. If it's a documentary, I'm assuming that she and Marie Benedict would have had some sort of input into it.
Hmm. Um, how do you feel about being well? This ground that you created that's different, but it's had longevity. You've
Hmm.
been committed to it. A lot of people give things up. They quit when you know,
Right.
they do something for 6 months or whatever, and then they
Hmm.
move on. But you haven't moved on. You've
I have not moved
stuck with
on.
it.
I get tired, they always say when you want to get something done, give it to a busy person.
That's
I'm
true.
running I'm working on someone's congressional campaign. I'm speaking tomorrow night to my sorority around philanthropy and giving. And I have this book club that I'm doing this interview for tonight. So there's always something moving in my life around lots of things that sort of feed my soul. And I think that's the way I could describe this movement, and keeping true to this is that it's feeding my soul. I think you're never going to get 100% of participation from everybody, right?
That's
There's always
never.
going to be things that people grasp onto that will interest them. And so I think that's sort of the key to the longevity of this. I had to decide early on, and I've had some moments where I just wanted to kind of, throw my hands up because it is me doing all of this. And so people say, "Oh, we can help you." But I wanted to make sure that I maintain the integrity of the group, but also recognize that I can't be great at everything, right? So I pick those things that I'm passionate about and I move on them. And if I'm exhausted and can't host a session, we won't host a session. If I'm exhausted because there's not a lot of participation or interest in maybe an activity, a trip, then I'll cancel it. And so I've had to be okay with doing that. And that's how I've been able to maintain my sanity, but keep my energy and excitement level up. And I think just being here and being sort of a resource, and person that authors come to, um, for whatever it is, has been great. I mean, I'm not in it for the fame and fortune, obviously. I'd love to be a Reese, Reese's book club or Oprah's book club or some of that. But I'm just, Dr. Tammy with the Personal Librarians book chat, trying to navigate, making sure that people get something from this. If it's just a list of books for them to read and go away, some of them have their own book clubs. And so they sort of take from what we're doing and then bring it over to what they're doing. So, and that's fine. I have those individuals who like to travel, and so we do travel trips. I was communicating today with an author about her book launch in New York, so we may, participate in that as a sub group of her event. And so it's that, right? And so I try to, like I said, make sure that I'm doing things that feed my soul and that I enjoy. And then that way this kind of continues. So we'll be 5 years, July 15th, excuse me, next year, we'll hit the 5-year mark. So not sure what's going to happen at that point, but I will start to plan that towards the end of the year.
So with you saying that you are doing a lot with this book club, do you limit the authors that you work with to historical fiction authors?
Yes, yes. So let me, it's the answer to that question is yes. However, there are instances like the book that we are getting ready to host next week, the author for Joy Goddess. This
Okay.
is not fiction, it's
Right.
historical nonfiction. And so there are times when a member or reader will tap me in my inbox and say, "Hey, did you see this book?" And because I create a little bit of flexibility in the list, because I put the list out in the beginning of the year, I can move things around, or if something just, doesn't need to be on there, I take it off. So that was the case for this one. I didn't know about it ahead of time. And so I was able to grab this one. And so between this book and the book that is currently on the list, which is also Without Fear, I believe it's Keisha Blaine. It is a historical book, but it's basically nonfiction. She's a scholar. So I've had a few books this year, that one and another one that were more scholarly based, very deep.
Okay. So
That's for learning.
it still sounds like, even though you do vary, it's still
Mhm.
all basically in the same family.
Yes, historical. Yeah,
Mhm.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, and
historical.
it's in last time you were on, you were specifically doing books written by Black women.
Oh yeah, we still do
Mhm.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still 110 toes down with Black women authors,
Okay.
and traditionally published
Books.
authors.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Not
Books,
not
rather.
any self-published or indie work
Correct, correct, correct.
at this
You know,
time.
I think, and you may remember the last time. The reason I do this is really because when I started this in the beginning, literally within the first, let's say, 12 days, um, I spoke to a few authors, and when I understood what their struggles were, not and that's speaking for the collective, it was really around getting being not necessarily seen, but being backed by the publishing companies and understanding the metrics around um, making that New York Times bestseller list, understanding getting the message to the reader, the importance of pre-orders and
Mhm.
purchasing the books um, from independent bookstores as well as other bookstores within that first week. So all of those things culminate into the mission, right? The mission of this book club in pushing, as you said earlier in the beginning of this, Black authors into, in publishers' faces, right? And so I think when they see all of these beautiful Black people coming together, reading these books. And you know how we do. We when we do events, we show up and we show out. And so I think I saw an example of that when I went to DC earlier this year for a book launch for Harlem Rhapsody, and saw the looks on the faces of the publishers that were in the room. So that's when I knew I had to keep this going.
Awesome.
Yeah, sometimes when you're doing something that's independent and different, similar to this show, because we celebrated our 5th anniversary in July of this year.
Oh, this
So,
year, congratulations.
This year.
It feels like longer.
It feels like a minute to me.
Yeah. Well, the Black Book
so
Festival is, how long is the Black Book Festival?
It's
How old is it?
18.
Okay, so this program is 5
5.
years.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and this was started because COVID hit and we couldn't do the festival.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
why this show was launched.
So we're kind of parallel on that, right?
Somewhat.
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah, you were the next year, like a year after we started the show, you started your group.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
you took off running because I started hearing about it almost immediately. So you really did.
I think it was because, and I know that people go to, I don't attend as nearly as many book festivals and places as other, conferences as other people, but every time I get there's something happening, most times there's a surge in people coming in because somebody on that panel has said something about the book club or the book chat. So I think, I'm grateful for that word of mouth. And, I'm kind of like, you're very fancy with the podcast. I'm just doing Zoom. I mean, I'm doing Zoom too, like you are, but you guys are a little bit more fancier than I am. But I just, I don't know. I think from your vantage point, what else I can do. I'm sure there's lots of other things, but again, I have to operate in from a vantage point of my capacity until I, decide to do something bigger and different.
Okay. Now, would you ever consider male authors?
Male authors,
in the historical fiction genre.
I'm gonna say it I'm obviously saying it live here. I won't ever say never. However, I think for everything I've done in my life, it has always been women. And, I just, there's another space for that because it gets a little confusing when you sort of mesh the two. When I say confusing, it's just the mission. I think that's just me, Black women, everything I do.
I get it.
Well, it's a personal choice. People ask us, and we have been asked, do we have non-Black people on the show? And we have, but it's because they have a book that's related to Black people. That's really and normally it's historical. Normally it's someone with the historical book that nobody else has written on the topic and is really interesting. We recently had somebody who wrote a book about Benjamin Banneker, 11 Generations or something like that. And she was white, but she was actually related to Benjamin Banneker. She found that out and she wrote a book about him because of that. So
that's great. That's great. I how should I put this? Because I think that it's just very important to center us. There is, and I respect Marie Benedict. She's in our book. She's in the group chat, the book chat, but she does not center herself. She is just there, right? But I think that we just have to, there's so many of others and we just have to take care of us. And that's sort of, how I feel it could be taken many different ways. but I
No,
think
I agree with you. And that's why we
because of
don't apologize for our mission. We've interviewed over 800 people since we've had this show.
wow, wow,
And I think less than 1% have been non-black.
wow, wow.
Maybe 1%. Because
Well,
1% would be
a
eight.
quick
And I don't know if it's been eight.
right. Well, I'll make a quick plug, and I think I think it speaks to why I'm going to stick to why I'm doing what I'm doing. We did a documentary. It's being shopped around. We did a documentary. I think it was in August. For a historian here locally in Houston, who's a history professor, and so the reason why she selected us was because of the mission, right? And it was about a Black woman. She actually was the first published, maybe self-published person in Texas. And so the documentary, her research, I should say, has been on this woman over the last, I would say, maybe 17, 18 years. So that was great. We did read the book, and we did our normal discussion. And so she got bits and pieces of that conversation. Her name is Lillian Horse, is the name of the person, the historical figure. And I think in one of her quotes, she said it would be like a dream for her to have Black women, discussing her book in a platform. And wouldn't you know that so many decades later, that's exactly what happened. And so for that, I will end on that as to why I will stick to the mission of Black women authors and centering and amplifying those voices because they matter. As you see, I gave you a plug.
Yeah, I see.
But that is a great way to end the show. Unfortunately, we've come to the bottom of the hour. But very, very quickly, how can people be a part of the book club? And what is your next project?
So the book club can be found on Facebook. So Personal Librarians, plural, Book Chat is the name of the group for Black women only. Sorry, guys. And our next project, I haven't really thought about that too closely. I know we may be going to New York. With one of the book launches in May. But before that, I think we'll just be working on what year 5 looks like in terms of an event of some sort.
And have you
Awesome.
picked your books for 2026 yet, or you still
No, I
developing
don't
that?
do that until like the last week in December, and I publish it the first week of January. So
Okay.
I'm gathering that information based on how they have them. And I'm trying to get more, I do have more authors that I need to bring in the fold. So I have got to scour. So if you guys have ideas of people, recommendations, you can just ping me on Facebook in my inbox, and I'll definitely check it out and add them to the list.
Okay. Well, thanks, Tammy, for being on the show again. Congratulations on maintaining your passion and your mission.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
and being
Thank you, ladies.
consistent and professional with it. So
Oh,
that's
thank
really great.
you.
Really
Thank
great.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Well, thank you guys for being great partners on the journey because we're all in this together, right?
Yes, we are.
But thank you so much. You have a wonderful evening. It was good.
You
It was great
too.
talking with you again.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Bye.
Now, Rhonda, did you think that was the end of the show or just the end of her segment?
The end of her segment.
Okay, you said the show, so that's why I wonder.
Well, I don't remember saying that. I know I said we've reached the bottom of the hour. So
yeah, you said the
if
end
I
of the
said
show.
show, I meant segment.
I'm sorry. I said, okay.
I already know Lolita's waiting to come in.
She is. And so Lolita was supposed to be on the show a few the show before the festival. Or
When we had the
no, the
Facebook
14th, on the
connection.
14th of October. But we had that technical problem where Zoom erased all of the shows on my list. And so I had to quickly create another one. I mean, I had 3 years worth of shows, and they just disappeared. Anyway, so Lolita was very gracious to come back because she did sign on the one that they erased. She signed on, and I was looking for her. So, but she graciously agreed to come back, and we haven't had her on the show as an individual interview in a while. So Lolita is with the Divas Read Too book club, and they've been around for how long?
We started in 2002.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So we are entering our 24th season.
Wow.
Great.
And you're based in?
We're based in Dallas, Texas.
Okay. Another Texan. And you all get around as far as the books that you read, and you all get out there, you all put your name out there a lot. I see
we do
posting things, and I think I've seen you all post things about events you've been to as well. Now, have you been to the National Black Book Festival?
Yes, I've been there maybe about, I think a total of 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you had. I just didn't.
Yeah,
18 years. I can't remember everybody.
If I'm not mistaken, I came when you first started, when we were at the hotel.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
When we were at the hotel.
Okay. Yeah, we've been at Fallbrook Church for, well, if I include COVID, in 13 years. So even though we didn't actually physically have an event those 2 years of COVID, but we had the virtual. But we started there, we were there, and then COVID, and then so we stayed there.
Yes. Well, we are entering our 24th season, so we'll be getting ready for year 25 next year. This season, thank you. This season, we're a seasonal book club, so we meet October through March, the last Sunday of each month. And this season, we are reading the classics. So normally what we do is we nominate books like in the month of August. I have the members nominate books that they would like to read for the upcoming season. We normally have authors nominate their books in the months of June and July, and then the members nominate books they would like to read in August. But this season, I wanted to do something a little different. So we wanted to go back. So we are doing the classics. Last month we did, what was that? Her Little Black Book by Brenda Jackson. And this month,
what was the title? What was the title?
Her Little Black Book by Brenda Jackson. That came out
is it the romance author Brenda Jackson?
Yes.
I remember that book. That was when we first had the bookstore.
That came out in 2008.
Okay. Yeah. We had the bookstore.
So this month we're going to dive into the $1 Million Divorce by R.M. Johnson.
Okay. I wonder what he seemed like he disappeared.
He has disappeared.
Some people write for a while. They're writing a lot, and they're coming out with a book every year, and then all of a sudden, poof, they're gone.
I think he's coming out with something. I do think he's coming out with something because he made a post maybe about a month ago. I think he's working on something because he just got in and just started saying hello to everyone. I was like, what? A blast from the past. So, yeah.
Because it's been 20 years since he had a book. I might be stretching it a little bit, but it's been a minute.
But those $1 Million books did really well.
They did.
Oh, yes. I read that one. So we're revisiting that this month. So I'm looking forward to that.
He had the Harris Men.
He did. He sure did.
It was a sequel. But that was a really, his books were male-centered in terms of the main characters.
Yes.
That Harris Men book, I remember it. And I haven't thought about that book in 25 years or however long it's been. But when you started talking about his books, that book was really, really good.
Yeah. And he's one of our favorite authors because we hosted him in 2011. We brought him to Dallas for our annual dinner with the Divas. So we had a
Okay.
whole weekend. We had a whole weekend with them, and yeah, we had a great time.
That sounds fun.
Mhm. Yeah. So, what are some other authors that you all have had, like face-to-face events and things with, where you spend a weekend? Is it a weekend? Or is it always a
Yes.
weekend? And is it
Mhm.
always a male author, or do you all simply just?
No, it's not. But you know what? I have to say, the male authors do bring in
They
the
draw people.
readers. They
Yes,
do.
they do.
Yes,
They
they do.
do.
They do. So in the
Okay.
past, we've had R.M. Johnson, we had Eric Pete, we had, of course, Brian W. Smith, Victor McLaughlin,
Okay.
uh,
Uh,
Ricky Teams. We had him. Now, as for the women, we had Electa Rome Parks.
okay.
We also had Letitia Lovely. And then we ended it in 2019, right before COVID. We had Curtis Bunn.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So those are all people that we both know. Rhonda and I both know. I think
Yeah.
they've all been on the show at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Except for R.M. Johnson. He's the only one that hasn't. All the other people you named have been on the show.
Well, reach
And
out to
now that
him.
he's coming out with a book, I'll have to
Mhm.
reach out to him and find out when it's
Well,
coming
I
out.
think he is. He kind of said he
He
was
popped
doing
up, he
something.
came back,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
resurrected himself. And
Hmm.
Well, that's the way you do it.
Mhm.
That's the way
Yeah,
you do it. You can't be mad at it.
yeah, no, I think it's great because his writing was really good.
Oh, it was excellent. It was excellent. So I definitely hope he comes back. But
Mhm.
like I said, we're reading the classics this season. So this month, I said Million Dollar Divorce. In December, we're going to read Invisible Life by Elin Harris.
Okay.
Okay. That is a
Um,
classic. Oh
Yeah.
my.
yes,
When you
yes,
at
yes.
first when you said classics, I didn't know if you were talking about books like Huckleberry Finn or The Grapes of
You know,
Wrath.
some of those books we
I
did
didn't know.
nominate, but the members chose these books. So
Okay.
yeah, we
All
had some of
right.
those older books in the nominations, but they didn't make it.
But
So
I think it's great that we have books now that we have enough books that have come out over the years that
mhm,
we have classics. And you
yeah.
can even go a little bit further back, than that. And
Hmm.
there's some real
Now we are
okay.
reading The Bluest Eye in February.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
now
are going to
there's a
read.
classic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
we're going
is
to
a
read
classic.
and I've never read The Bluest Eye. I've never read that.
Yeah, I haven't either. I've only read excerpts from it.
Yeah,
No,
so
I
And
we're
I
read the
reading.
Blue
really
Side.
saw
That's
her
an epic
interview.
read.
Mhm. I saw her interview on her documentary about her where she said why she wrote the book. She
Hmm.
talked about what
Oh,
made her
okay.
write that book. And she Toni Morrison, she had some deep thoughts. When
Yes.
when she would talk,
Hmm.
you would she would make you think about
Hmm.
things that from an angle that you probably never thought about. You
Hmm.
know about it, but you never really thought about it deeply. And she
Right,
would make you think about things deeply.
right. Now, when we end our season in March, we're going to read Cheaters by Eric Jerome Dickerson. No, wait, it's Eric
Hey,
Jerome Dickey. Eric Jerome
Mm,
Dickey.
you
okay.
better get
So,
his name right.
why get his name right? Because he
Yeah,
has a movie coming out too. He has a movie
yeah,
coming out in
That's
Lifetime.
true. That's
yes,
true.
Yeah,
yes,
Friends and Lovers.
yes.
I,
There is
I
an
need them
Eric
to make a
Dickerson.
movie out of that whole Gideon series, though. I think that would be awesome.
Yes,
I never
yes.
did read that. I need to go back. There's so many books I need to read that I just can't get to all of them. But
I know. I know.
Cheaters, I read that. I
Yeah,
read more of his earlier works than I did his later works.
me too. Me too. I did too. Yeah. So we're looking forward to that because March, what we're going to do is have Bring a Man Month. We used to have that in the past where we bring guys in to read the book of the month with us. So hopefully we can get them to read the book and discuss it with us.
Now, where do you bring them from? Like, do you just like are
Well,
they
we're just going to invite friends.
husbands? Oh, okay.
Husbands,
No,
boyfriends, whoever wants to
okay,
read. So, yeah, if there's
okay.
any guys out there in the Dallas area that want to be a part of the Bring a Man month in March, hit me up. So, we think that's going to be a lively discussion.
Yeah, years and years ago, we had some men come to a book club meeting for our Kush City Book Club. So, the Kush
Uh-huh.
City Book Club is 24 years old. So
Mm.
yeah, we started when we opened the store, the the customers wanted a book club. And the ones that did, they're not with the book club anymore. But we have some longtime members like that've been with at least 18 years, 19 years,
Wow.
something like that.
Wow.
And we have a few newer ones, but most of them are at least 15 years.
Mm.
But we had a couple of meetings where men came, and it just created it made the women inhibited with what they were saying.
Oh, really?
Yes. You know, they didn't
Oh,
want to
I
say,
can see that. Sometimes
know what?
women don't want to say certain things around
Right,
men.
around men. And then the men, they got, I don't know, it just didn't work. But at
Well,
a social
it
thing,
depends on where you're meeting. And if you're meeting in a restaurant that's serving
oh, alcohol. No, this was in our store. These
oh,
meetings were in
okay.
our store,
Okay.
so there was no alcohol being served.
Oh,
And
okay.
no, they weren't tipsy. They just were triggered.
Okay. I understand. I
I
understand.
forgot what we were read, but we tried it like early on. We hadn't
Mhm.
tried it since
Okay.
then.
Okay.
And then and we really don't. If we have a new member join, then it has to
Mhm.
be somebody we already know that,
Okay.
because you know we have a very tight knit group.
Okay.
So we just recently added a member, but we've known her forever.
Okay.
She wanted to read a book. She wanted to be part of a book club because she likes to
Mhm.
read and discuss. So, but we haven't like opened it up for members or anything like that. Now, do you all have your club open for members, for new members?
Normally, we have our open house in September. I usually send something out on Facebook if they're interested in joining. We did have two young ladies that were interested in joining us this season, but something happened where they couldn't come to the open house, so we kind of canceled that. But what we do is we don't have anyone that joins. We do open up our book club meetings in December and March for
Okay.
non-members. Yeah, so that
Okay.
gives them an opportunity to, take a look at the club, see how the club is run and all of that. So the two young ladies that were interested in joining us, they should be coming into the March, I mean, not the March, but the December meeting.
Okay. All right. So how many members do you have in the Divas
We
group?
currently have 13.
Okay.
I hate that number, but yes, 13.
Well, that's a good
You have to
number.
let the two ladies in so you can come up to 15.
Yeah, so we currently have 13. I think the largest we've had at one time is about 23, 24.
Okay,
So
that's pretty big.
that's
for-
very big. So
for a
yeah,
book club.
I like it kind of with the 13.
Yeah, I find most of them are like 10 or under in terms of
Yeah.
numbers.
Right.
But have you been to the National Book Club Conference before?
Oh yes, I have. We have done that. We get around.
Okay, all right.
Yes. That's how we
Rhonda
met
and I
Curtis Bond.
went, and we went this year. Rhonda and I
Oh
both.
really? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was both our first time going, I believe.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
First time going.
Yeah,
And
we've
we're
been
going.
there. We've been there several times, and we won. I think 2 years we won the Community Service Award.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a nice ceremony when they give out the awards.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes. So I had to bring Curtis on up here. Like I said, I had him here at the Dinner with the Divas in 2019. So
Okay.
that was real nice.
Okay. Yeah, and we're
Mhm.
going back next year, so.
Oh, you are?
Mhm.
I know he's probably looking for us to come. I don't know what year
And
this
I
is.
think you should just go ahead and come.
We may do that. We're trying to think about what we're going to do for our 25th anniversary next season.
Okay.
So we're kind of working on that. So who knows, we may. We're definitely going to go back and see him. We just don't know when.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a nice group, and we went with the show. So
Mhm.
we had the show. We had a banner about the show, but we also had our merch, our individual merch.
Oh, okay. I think that was
We
nice.
have a line of T-shirts. Rhonda has
Mhm.
T-shirts and her books. I didn't bring my books because I
Okay.
have so many T-shirts. It's hard to
Right.
sell them both. Now we're going to what is in Austin. We have a group going to the Texas Book Festival this coming weekend in Austin.
Okay, I've never been to that one. In Austin, no, I don't think I've been to
It's
that one.
the state one. It's very big. It's one of the biggest in the country, and
Okay.
it's not a Black event, but it's
That's okay.
book readers, and
We're not the only people who read books. It's all good.
Right.
No, I was just being specific, and but they have a very large audience of people that come. It's extremely large. So we have a double booth in there. Well, we had 7 that were going, but now we have 5. And I take my T-shirts and books, and then everybody else they have some merch, but mostly books. And we did very well last year in terms of just because it's just so many people, and we made our booth more like a walk-in store.
I may have to
the back.
And I have to try them out. I have to come down there and when is it again? When is it?
It's this coming weekend, so it's Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's it's a huge event. The Bushes started it. It's backed by the state. HEB is like a huge, humongous sponsor. They have big money, and they have they bring in a lot of authors from all over the country, and it's free as far as the public, and it's outside. It's in those tents that have walls. The big tents. So it's and then they have different events around the Capitol. It's right downtown where the Capitol is.
Okay, I have to make that one year.
Yeah. You should come. Even if it's to see it once, especially if you're in Texas, just to see it once is really an amazing event because they have big money behind them. Okay, cool. Yeah, so your book club might think about doing that since it's during your season. 1 year. Season.
Yeah, we have to do that. We may do that. We may have to do it because we're gonna have a lot of things going on next season. I don't know what yet, but we're gonna do it up.
Yeah, it's normally in November. It used to be in October. In fact, it used to sometimes be the same weekend as our event. But after COVID and they came back, it's been in November. So they moved it to a November event. Okay.
Because your event is usually the last weekend in October?
Yes.
Right before our book club meeting.
Unless it's Halloween. So we can't have it on the weekend if it's Halloween because the part of the venue is used for the Jesus Fest at the church, which is for Halloween. They had like 1,000 kids out there.
Wow.
Halloween.
So next year is going to be, I think Halloween is going to be on a Saturday next year.
Oh, that means it's
but we'll be the weekend before.
Okay.
So yeah, we're always the weekend before Halloween. So, but now, what is the best book that you all read this year? As far as the ratings, do you all rate your books? We rate our books.
So we have a book review committee. So whoever is hosting in that particular month, I usually have one of them do a book review, and we post it, on our Facebook page as well as the Goodreads platform as well. The best book this year,
or the highest rated book.
It was last season. I think it was Somebody's Wife. I think that was the name of the book. Somebody's Wife. I can't remember the author, but it was Somebody's Wife. So
that sounds like something by Black Odyssey. But I don't know if it is.
But we usually try to pick the best book of the season, and I think that was it, Somebody's Wife. Okay. So we're looking forward to see what is going to be the best book this season. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Okay. So what are some of the books you all have coming up? Is it the classics that you mentioned? Or is that next year?
No, that's this season. Because remember, we're October through March. So we just read her little black book. We're going to read $1 Million Divorce this month. Then in December is Invisible Life. January is Butterscotch Blues by
That's
Margaret Johnson
Margaret
Hodge. I've
Johnson
never read that.
Hodge.
Yeah,
Margaret
I've never read
Johnson
that
Hodge.
one.
I've
Okay.
never read that.
And then February is The Bluest Eye, and then March is Cheaters.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have mentioned them all except the one by Margaret Johnson Hodge.
Right.
I
I've
don't think I
never read
read that
that one.
book either. The Butterscotch
Yeah.
Blues. I remember it though.
Yeah, I've never
Yeah, I
read that
haven't read that
one.
one at all.
So I'm looking forward to all of this.
Okay. Now, if someone wanted to start a book club, since yours has been around so long,
Mm-hmm.
what is a tip you can give them on starting one and maintaining one over time? What are some, what
Well, the
would you
first
say is
tip is to
important?
definitely be organized. You got to be organized. My group has bylaws. So, and the bylaws have been created by different situations that have occurred. So we have
Yeah, I
over the
get it.
years. Yeah, so we have bylaws. So definitely someone interested in starting a club organization, write down your vision, what you want it to be, when you want to meet, how long you want to meet, what day. We have a book review committee, we have a special events committee. So, and then we are a nonprofit. We became nonprofit in 2017. So we have a nonprofit committee. So you just have to write down how you see the way you want to go with your book club.
Okay. And then maintaining it over time. What's some of the key things you would say to keep a book
Maintaining
club
it
going?
is Maintaining it is definitely making sure everyone abides by the bylaws. What I haven't did this recently, but normally what I used to do at the beginning of the season, I would have everyone sign the bylaws and, give it to me to make sure that they've read over them. Whenever I made changes to the bylaws, I put that in bold. So I want to make sure that they're, reading the bylaws and abiding by them. Because
Okay.
we've had situations over the years that we've had to release some people. So
Oh, you all release people.
Y'all
yes,
don't
we
play.
do.
Y'all don't
We
play.
do.
And we
Yeah, we
let
do.
people release themselves.
No,
So,
we sometimes. Well, you know what? We kind of let them release
sometimes,
themselves. But we start out. Well, myself, I start off with a conversation with them. Maybe telling them, you're not. Is there something different going on? You may need to take some time off. But so yeah.
and you have to have a leader that did you start the club?
Yes, I did.
So are you like the president or
I am the
facilitator?
president.
Okay.
I am the
So
president.
yeah, so as the president, clearly you don't have a problem enforcing the rules and setting
I do
policy.
not. I don't.
And that's important.
It is. It's very important.
Some people aren't comfortable doing that.
Right. No, I'm very comfortable in doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I have a one-on-one conversation with them first, just to kind of find out what's going on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of responsibility maintaining, planning, and organizing.
It is. It is. It is. And in regards to the 25th anniversary, I'm just thinking, okay, what do I want to? Because we've always done the dinner with the divas every year. So, most of the members want to kind of do something like that. So that's a lot. So we'll see. I want to, but we'll see.
Okay. Well, Lolita, we're at the end of our time, but thank you so
Okay.
much for coming on and giving us an update about the divas and continue success with your club.
Thank you so much for having me, as always.
Yeah,
Well,
we
it's
appreciate
always
Rhonda,
a
it was nice
pleasure to talk
talking
with
to
you.
you.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
appreciate the support of book
Definitely.
clubs. Those of us
Definitely.
who are authors or producers of podcasts, we
Yeah.
appreciate the support of the book clubs because those are
Thank you
our
so much.
avid readers.
Definitely. Thank you guys for having me once again.
Okay, have a great
Okay.
night.
You do the same. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Well, that's the end of our show for this week. We'll be back next week with another episode. I do want to say that we will have some nights in the next couple of months where we'll miss shows. For example, the week of Thanksgiving, there won't be a show.
We got to
And
cook that day.
yeah. And then during Christmas, we take 2 weeks off during that holiday time. So anyway, but we'll be back next Tuesday for another amazing episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.